I don't have my recorder. You're
I'm
good?
recording.
Okay. The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you, Danielle. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. You have the flag, Danielle?
You.
There you go. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. A moment of silence, please, for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, especially for those on the front lines with this terrible COVID-19. So pray for them, and we appreciate all their service. Thank you. So a motion to approve the agenda. I think I'd like to amend the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to put Sands Avenue on. And also the Milton Train Station Park and the Cluett Chance Memorial Park field lights up there at the ballpark. So I make that motion. Second by Alan.
Second, whatever.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Under new
Thank you.
business?
Yes, under new business, please. Thank you.
Hey, Howard and Danielle, I just got an email from Brendan.
Yeah, I'm sending it to him now.
Okay, he's just asking, can you remind you? That's all.
Thanks.
I did send it to him, but maybe.
Okay.
Okay. So that being done, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 12th, 2021 town board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second by Alan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None said, motion carried. I'd like to, item 5 is make a motion to authorize payment of bills in the amount of $596,207.78. I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I didn't hear any of the motions. I'm sorry.
I made the motion. I'm trying
Second.
to.
Aye.
That's a lot of feedback. I can't hear anything.
I do hear some feedback.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything bad.
I don't have.
Must be you then, Ed.
Yeah, just blame it on me, Scott.
So we're good to go? Okay.
Are you good
Moving
now,
right
Danielle?
along.
Danielle, are you
Yeah.
good now?
Yeah.
Good, Danielle?
Thank you. I have, yes.
Okay. We have a presentation tonight from Colin Murphy. So Colin, would you like to talk to the board about your idea about the kayak rental down at the Milton Landing?
You want to talk about, present your,
Sure. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
would like the opportunity to be able to open a canoe and kayak business on the banks of the Hudson down in the Milton Landings area. I won't be there every day, but I will be there from Thursday through Sunday. I can take care of the grounds when I'm there, and I will offer a canoe or a kayak, however fit, to the town to use for the employees, such as a 4-hour rental for half the day. And you can use it however you want. I already have this set up with the Veterans Administration, so I can give a veteran the same canoe that you'll be taking for the other half of the day. And then on Wednesdays, of course, I'm doing a guided tour just for veterans. But that's still in the works right now. I don't know what else to say.
Well, the board, I forwarded the board your proposal. So I think the board has read it. We also got the legal opinion that we actually could do something like this and we don't have to go for RFPs and advertise for other people to do the same thing that you're proposing, which is a good thing. We could do a lease agreement if the town board wishes. So I think, is everybody aware of what Mr. Murphy's trying to do at the Milton Landing? And
Yes.
I forward the legal advice. I think, Scott, you answered that you thought it was a good idea and maybe
I'm just trying to
appropriate thing.
provide something for the community to do. I've talked to a lot of people in this community and a lot of people actually like it. I've talked to a lot of local businesses in the area who I've asked to actually advertise for me, and I will advertise for them as well. I'm advertising for Marlborough schools, things like that. It just looks good.
Oh, and how
Couple
many,
of-
are you
couple of
doing this now or is it just a new venture for you? I'm sorry. Is
Are
this
you
something
doing
you're
it
just
now?
starting up?
I'm new. I'm brand new. Yes, I've been studying this for the last 3 years. I've been looking into it. I've gone from here to Florida, and I've talked to a lot of people who own these businesses. I've been up and down the Hudson so many times on my canoe alone. I built an outrigger so it won't flip over. I've taken it out many times to perfect it, so I won't tip over out there because I wear hearing aids, and I don't want to take that dip in the water.
Safety for the younger ones.
Yeah.
How many kayaks and canoes would you have? It's all contained within your van? Is that the idea?
How many do you have?
I have 6 canoes and 3 kayaks, 1 tandem kayak and two singles.
Okay.
So do you have?
Is
do you
there,
have
is there a,
Do you do it by reservation or do you do it by walk-in?
Reservation and walk-in.
Both. I prefer walk-in to sport, but I will be doing reservations, yes.
And what do you do in inclement weather?
And what are you gonna do in inclement weather?
Well, when it comes to, I won't be out there in the rain. I don't want to be on there in the rain. I wouldn't put a customer in there in the rain. As for wind or a lot of heavier waves,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I won't put anybody out there. I have insurance to deal with, and I don't want to. Yeah.
We spoke with a lot of different fishermen there's a Hudson Valley kayakers and fishers. We talked to them and they said if it's light rain, no real waves, they'd go out. But most people who kayak say they stay away from the water when it's too bad. It's just not the best idea. And we
It's
agree.
not safe. Yeah.
I have a question. Is there an age limit to who can go out in the kayak alone? Or anything like that?
The age limit for going out alone is 16 and up.
18 with the parent's signature. You have to have, well, 18, I can't do anything about 18. 18, you're an
16
adult.
with parents.
But if you're 16, if your parents must sign that waiver, and you must sign that waiver. I will have, they might supposed to present an ID, which I will make a copy of, on every waiver.
And the
You can't step into my boat without signing a waiver.
other question I have for you is anybody can come in there without ever being in a kayak or ever being in a canoe and could just rent one? Is that the way it works?
Can anybody who's never been in a kayak or canoe get in one and just start heading down the river? No. that's
No.
not.
No,
How do you,
I would give them a class first. I would give them a class first.
okay.
I would definitely teach them how to use that canoe properly before they get in.
Yeah, it was one of our requirements that we felt like was the best. We have all been canoeing, kayaking for most of our lives, but everybody had to learn. Our children, our nieces, our nephews, we had to teach them all, what you need to do, what happens if you do. And that's why he built the long rigger for the canoes. because it does help also prevent safety with the tipping over or any faulty. We
Now,
also
if they're in the canoes on the river, are they required to wear a life jacket or?
we have all life jackets.
We have all life jackets, all safety gear. I have a first aid kit in every boat, with a horn, an air horn. I have the required life jackets. I have floating seats. I have anything that will float. I have coolers for them that lock down, and if it so be it, those float too. All my stuff floats. I actually have I have gear so they can hook their phones up. Nobody likes to go out and you lose your phone now or you lose what do you call it?
Service.
Your phone dies. You can't take pictures out there. Everybody will get bored. So I have a battery on board so they can charge their phones and things on.
And if needed to get a hold of us or anybody else.
I also have 6 reflectors on each boat.
Okay.
So
Colin?
you can't be seen out there.
Colin, I think you're planning on parking your van at the southernmost portion of the parking area there?
That one would actually be right smack in the middle, I guess you want to say, because I want to be, it'll be right next to the little stream that comes out.
Yes.
It will be opposite side of the stream as the train station itself.
Okay, and where would they launch the canoes? They would portage them across the tracks and then,
Well, I would carry them across the railroad tracks, set them up, and then I would launch them on the small beach behind the train station. I don't want to put them on anywhere else in the actual park area because the ground is treacherous, and I don't want people standing on those banks because they might slip on the rocks or slip on the gravel there. If it was different and it was like more of a beach like the other part would be, then yes, maybe. Like I might launch a kayak from that side because it's easier and it's lighter to get into the water, but the canoes will definitely be on the beach side, directly behind the train station,
okay,
on the river. So it'll be opposite of the actual park.
Well, right now, that's actually a construction zone.
Right now, it's a construction zone.
I know, I see that.
Yeah.
I did see that out there, and I could launch on the other side, but I prefer to be on the beach.
Yeah, because there's another beach down on the north end.
There's the other.
I did see that beach down there. I don't really want to carry the canoes that far. They are kind of heavy.
No, I get you.
But I can't put them down.
Have you looked at our launch? We actually have a launch in there. It's right in basically almost right in the middle of the park. I don't know if you scouted that out.
The launch that's right in the middle of the park.
I have launched in the middle of the park.
Yeah, he's saying
Yeah.
you consider that.
I've considered that, yes, I have very much considered that, but that area there, there is gravel there and there's a lot of rock. If I would be able to move those rocks out of the way to where it's just gravel, then yes, I would launch in the center of the park.
Right,
But there's just too many big rocks there and I don't want to slip on them.
Yeah, well, we have actually, when we did that, we actually have that probably 25 to 30 feet wide because we were doing annual kayak launches before COVID. And we would launch like sometimes 30, 40 kayaks, everybody would go at the same time. So,
Yeah.
I've launched mine from there a bunch of times. The canoes, I don't know, never really have been in a canoe that much, but my kayak, that's where I always put it in. It was pretty easy to get in and out.
I personally like canoes because I'm not sitting in the water. I'm sitting above the water.
Yeah, he's saying
Yeah.
that launch is pretty easy though. If you trek it through, if you try it, it's actually an easy
Yeah,
launch.
I've launched and I came in on all three, in the center of that and on the end down there with on the very far end and on the beach area. I've been on all 3 areas of out there. I don't mind picking up or dropping off there, but I preferred that little beach area. So when the construction's over, maybe then.
hopefully.
Colin, do you have a
early
picture?
June.
Colin, do you have a picture of the van and the setup and the
I have.
canoes?
No, I don't have a picture of my van, but let me get that big one. I have it's a Ford E350 extended passenger van.
That's a big van.
It's a big van. It's a 14-passenger van.
All right. Just trying to picture it being down at the landing. I mean, I'm 100% in favor of launching down there. My only issue is, from a board perspective, is the lease agreement. And I said it in my email, because if we set up a lease agreement where we're just allowing people to set up a business on town parks without any financial trade-off, I think we're setting ourselves up in the future for possible other people wanting the same deal. You know what I'm saying?
I can
Nothing
understand.
against, it's nothing against Colin. I think this is a great idea.
But
I don't
basically also that it's on a, each one is a different situation. So our friend Mr. Murphy here is disabled veteran from Desert Storm. So I think we could actually help him out a little bit more than any other person. So I appreciate his service to this country, and I think that we could look into something that is going to work for both the town and Mr. Murphy
Yeah, I
on
mean,
those bases.
I agree with you, Al. We wanna take care of our veterans. That's 100% sure. At the same time, we also still got to protect the taxpayers for the property that is owned by them. This is just, it's a similar, we have a whole setup of how we rent properties. We set it up about a year and a half ago when we did Zumba, right? So there's a whole rental. There's a rental agreement for the train station. There's a rental agreement for Comvac. There's a rental agreement for the park. And now this is considered a park. So, I mean, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying, again, I'm 100% for this. But what I'm saying is, as the board, we have to look at it as, yeah, if we do a favor for Colin, then I'm just saying the next person's going to come in and ask for a similar thing. So we got to be careful when we do these things, because yes, we want Mr. Murphy to do this, and again, he's a veteran and a serviceman. We want to help them out, but at the same time, we got to still be careful of the next person who's going to come down and ask and say, I want to set up something else down here. What can I do to barter instead of the money wise? I think we have a set up program for leasing properties at the town. I think we should stick by it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
That's my
think we
opinion.
have to stick by it according to the Parks and Rec and this whole thing about
I
going
don't think
down there and having somebody lease a piece of property regardless. And there's no like I said before, you don't have to do RFP or anything. I think the situation's a little different than maybe the.
Well, what is the
then.
Yeah,
What
what
is
is the
the-
agreement? What is the agreement we're pursuing?
Well, it's in his contract there that he set up.
I
Okay,
didn't see it.
In his
Yeah.
contract, if you read it, right? Colin, I don't know if you could explain it, but in his contract, it's basically saying that Colin's gonna do some work around the park, but we already have people that do that work around the park. That's my point, is I'm not saying he can't do that, but
I think he was talking on the southern end where we don't have anybody do anything in that area. I mean, it's up to the board, but basically what I'm thinking is that I think it's a great opportunity for the town to have something like that down there. And since Mr. Murphy is a disabled veteran, I think we should give him accommodations other than what we do for Zumba and whatever we do. And that's that's what I feel.
My question to you, Al, is this: next week, not month after, somebody else will also be a veteran, could be a disabled veteran, wants to put a hot dog cart down there. What
That's
do we
fine.
do?
It's
well,
fine.
we consider it. We look at it. We
You consider it though. Once you lock into this, it's no more considering. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I think, yeah, I think we as long as we're consistent and it's a disabled veteran, then we do the same
Or
thing.
even just even a regular veteran. My grandson's a veteran.
I don't want to use, please don't use my veteran as being.
I'm not using it as but what I'm saying is the town of Marlborough appreciates veterans, and I'm thinking that this is something that we could do. I'm not using it by all means. I'm thinking that it's a great thing that you could do, and it's a great service for the town of Marlborough.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes, sir.
Murphy, when were you plan on starting this?
Yeah, that's my next question.
When it gets warm,
Okay, I'm just gonna ask this. I think the board agrees, that we all like the idea. I like the idea. I think it's great. I think it promotes the park, promotes the town. It brings a different, brings another clientele into the town.
And that was our concern. We've had 5 boys grow up in this town. They always looked for something to do outdoors, and this was one of our factors, is just giving these kids something to do,
Yeah.
somewhere to go.
And I think it'll introduce a lot of people to the Hudson River that don't have the means or want to go buy a kayak and have a 12-foot kayak. Where are they going to put it? So I think it's all positive. What I do ask, and I think this, I'm asking the board this as well, is I think we should take a couple weeks. I think a couple weeks or a week, and we should talk internally, because there are a lot of concerns about, and Scott brings one up that's very valid, and so does Eddie. This could open up a lot. So we do need to kind of maybe make this, we need to put some borders in here. You know what I mean? So it doesn't become, everyone's down there doing something, selling something. You know what I mean? So I think we could creatively, within a week, just with an email chain, and then present it maybe at the next board meeting, which is 2 weeks away. I don't think that would hurt you, would it, Mr. Murphy? 2 weeks?
No, a few weeks, you're good right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take our time as a board. We all like the idea. Let's work together. Just do some emails, be in contact with Mr. Murphy, and then at the next meeting, have something that we can say, here's what we're going to do. And here's where, there'll be some competitive measures for maybe other parties that want to come down and do a business. Because we technically could have 25 things going on down there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's my concern, Al.
We don't have the room for 25 things.
I mean, that's only my concern, is that we want to make sure we take this slow. We're all in favor of Mr. Murphy's proposal. It's just that we want to take it slow, because for the next, like you just said, the next person that comes down, they're going to use this as the example to say, well, you did this for Mr. Murphy, now I want the same treatment. So we just got to be careful when we do these things. So that's all I'm saying.
I think one of our answers
I
might,
mean, this is a workshop. I mean, we could,
That's kind of like me
Al,
giving.
we're not gonna get this hammered out tonight. So there's some other things. We got 2 weeks. Mr. Murphy's fine with 2 weeks. It's not
So
a week before 4th of July.
I understand that. So the alternative is to work something out with Mr. Murphy as far as a lease agreement, or we would abide by the same lease agreement that we propose to everyone else.
All right, well, we have a couple weeks to hash it out. Al. We don't need an answer tonight. So
I'm just saying.
He's hearing impaired.
I'm hearing impaired. I lost my hearing in the military.
I need to translate a little bit.
Okay.
So if he's taking a couple of weeks, which we more
That's
than
fine.
have enough to just talk about it and discuss maybe more guidelines or along that line to just figure it out, which is completely understandable.
Okay,
Thank you.
if the board feels that we should need a couple of weeks to hash this out, I'm all in favor of that.
Okay.
That's
I'm
fine.
in
my only
favor
comment.
of actually looking into what it would entail would the lease be the same lease as we do for others at the recreation center, or would it be a lease different than we do for them as far as down at the landing, because it is state park, it is a state park.
It obviously would be seasonal, obviously. So
Yeah,
that's-
there's a lot of
That's
vehicles.
correct, Ed.
Yeah, there's a lot of vehicles that we could use here. It is a waterfront park. We only have one of those.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different, there's different ways that we can do this, and it'll work out fine. We need to protect ourselves and we just need to do this correct. That's all.
I think
I
we're
mean,
getting to
as
the
far
point.
as the fiction goes, we have all the insurance from Mr. Murphy,
Yeah.
and he has to have supply that's the same as anybody that's gonna do the rec center.
Yeah, that's fine. And he
I just
provided
think
some
we're
of that
getting to
already.
the, we're getting to the point where the landing obviously is coming to, it's gonna be done, right? And a lot of people are gonna probably want to use the landing for some type of activity or some kind of rental or some kind of something. So I think it would behoove us to actually get a type of a lease agreement that we have in place for the park or for the Tomback and retrofit it to the landing, right?
Yeah,
But have something in place, so when people come in front of us, we have it already preset, because right now we don't really have anything preset and we're kind of going
That's correct.
freewheeling. And I think all I'm asking is that we protect ourselves and the taxpayers, that we put this in place first before we agree to something, that's all. Again, we're all in favor of something like this, but we want to get a policy.
So the proposal would be in some sort of legalistic lease for the, for everybody to follow at the Milton Landing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, do I have board permission to, ask legal about that? Our legal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
So
Can we,
I want to,
Al,
I want to prepare, so this way in 2 weeks or a week when we're doing the conversation, that we're prepared to give Mr. Murphy a definite answer, how
Yeah.
much it's gonna be and what's the cost and what, you know,
Yeah.
how we move forward.
yeah, I would think we use Tomback as an example, maybe, Al, as a guideline, not saying the example, but a guideline. Because that one's set up a little different, like the park is just basically the pavilion for the most part. And I wouldn't think that's comparable.
I don't think any of them really,
No, they're really not. But
not comparable as far as rental and the amount of money. I don't know if, you know, we'll talk about that, the logistics about that, but, we'll come up with a fair equity, cost of, for Mr. Murphy, I'm sure.
I'm
We'll
only gonna,
work it out, yeah. I mean, the only comment I have is that, yes, other people might want to use the park, but it is, as Alan said, a waterfront park, so it should be,
what about one?
you know, there for those kinds of activities, not necessarily a hot dog stand. But a hot dog stand might be a good thing too, who knows?
Oh,
Or paddle boats, paddle boats.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, so to, you know, to really talk about it, because once that South Pier is finished, hopefully at the end of June, you know, a lot of people might be interested in some kind of food cart or something like that.
Food truck.
And that blends into the whole idea of economic development and bringing people into our community. So, yeah, for sure. So let's talk about it a little bit more, and come to a decision for Mr. Murphy in a couple of weeks.
That's not
Okay.
good.
All right.
sounds good.
Thank you, Alan, for your input. Appreciate it.
thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Colin.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, and
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Mr.
service,
Mrs.
sir.
And Mrs. Murphy?
Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Murphy
Thank you,
too.
Mrs. Murphy. Okay. That's good. Good conversation, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Any comments on the agenda? Okay. So under new business, we have now the chief of police contract. We also have the Sands Park and Milton Train Station Park and Park Baseball Field Lights. So let's start off with the chief of police contract. Where'd the chief go?
He's
There
right
you are,
there.
chief.
I'm here.
Everybody saw the contract.
Yeah.
Basically, myself and Councilman Corcoran worked on it with the chief. We gave him a pretty good sized bump because he asked for it, and I think he's worth every penny of it. So, and I think Mr. Corcoran agrees with us. He's not only the chief of police, he's an IT guy. He's always there when you need him. He does a lot of things. He wears a lot of different hats, and above all, he's open-minded. He's a great chief, and works a lot with the community and with this town board. So the bump was, I think, was more than appropriate. So that's all I have to say.
I'm good
Thank
with
you,
it.
Al.
So this
Fine
is
with it.
basically what you guys are recommending, you, Al and Scott, right? This is
Yes.
This is your recommendation, okay.
Yeah, when we sent it to legal, and legal seems to be all right with it.
Yeah,
There's only a
I'm fine
couple
with it. I think it
changes.
looked good.
There's only a few changes in there from his original contract, so.
Right.
And me and Al, and we checked the comparables to other townships. And his recommendation for salary is right within other chiefs within the area, as comparable as we can get to other towns, because it's hard to compare our town. But
Chiefs that have as much time as Chief Kokosa has in. And Jerry, how many years do you have in now?
11 as a chief.
yeah, a lot of guys don't have that many years as chief in comparable in townships. So, and some of them have a year or two, and they're basically making the same as what he's making.
Well, I'm all for your recommendation. So, I mean, let's go through it and get it over.
Would you like to make a motion, Ed, that the supervisor?
I'll make the motion
the
that we-
contract?
Yes, I'll make the motion that we accept the contract for the police chief.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. So Ed, just to verify that your motion for myself to sign the contract with Chief Kokoza.
I make the motion that Al signs the contract with Chief Kokoza.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you,
gentlemen.
Jerry.
Thank you. I really
Congratulations,
appreciate it.
Jerry.
Thanks,
you.
Jerry. Good job.
Good job.
5 more years you got me. 5 years.
You sound like Howard Stern.
5 years.
So continue on with the added new business. So thank to Councilman Corcoran for setting up a meeting down at Sands Avenue. I got a detailed analysis from Howard
Howard.
Baker, and I appreciate that, Howard. You do a great job as always.
Thanks, Howard, for
So,
writing that up.
You're welcome. Before I forget it.
Basically, we just for the rest of the board, would you like to talk about that meeting and what came about it? Howard or Councilman Corcoran or Councilman Baker?
Go
I
ahead,
mean, it
Scott.
was,
I mean, we all met down there, as Howard said, was myself, Howard, Alan showed up. We had an open meeting. So Gail Appler Jr., the Wises, we had Mr. Appler, we had John Alonji, we had Dave Zambitos, we had Charlie Maggio. We had everybody that we thought plays a part and had a part or will be playing a part into getting this park to where we as a board believe we got to get this year. Howard and myself and Alan walked the park with everybody, taking their input, and we marked off where we believe, going from Mr. John Behan's design. For the most part, we followed it as much as we could. There's some things that we, are going to be a little different, like the community gardening. Alan suggested, and I think it was a good suggestion, that become the parking area for the Sands Avenue Park, because later on, up on top of the hill is probably going to be highly used as a lookout or possible pavilion at some point in time. So it makes real sense. I think we had a very productive meeting. The thing that came out of it the most to me is that if we're going to get this project completed, we're going to have to rely heavily on the highway department and John Alonji, the superintendent, being able to have time to do that, what we asked. And I could tell you, I talked to John today. I don't know if you did it yet today, Al, but John was down there today with the guys.
Right.
He's going to be there tomorrow with the guys. And he believes he could get quite a bit done in the 2 days. So when Mr. Fulcell delivers the remaining dirt and we look at getting a bulldozer in there to spread out the dirt, we'll have quite a bit done before they have to come back. So we looked at the electrical. Alan found that there's an electrical panel box at the front end of the park, and there's a secondary electrical box at the back end of the park and the corner going to the dog park. It looks like they're connected. If the electric is good going through those two boxes, I think it's a home run for all of us, because that means the electric will be back there and it's in conduit pipe already. We talked about the trees. Howard was good enough. He went out and, God bless him, he tried to get estimates for all these trees that are in the plan, 38 trees, I believe, right, Howard? And it's kind of hard right now to get trees, again, COVID related or what have you. It's been hard, but I think it was Mazza's who had the best price.
Kansas Family Farms.
Mazza's family.
Yeah.
And it's around $8,500, which is very, like, almost close to what John had in his plans, I believe, right? So
I'm being, yeah.
yeah. So we were right on there.
A little cheaper.
Mr. Zambito recommended a bulldoze operator for us. I believe he was anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 to do it. John said to rent a bulldozer is around $3,500, and you have plus delivery, so you would be right up to about the 5,000 mark if we rented one and had our guys have to try to do it. So I think all of us at that site thought it would be a wise idea for the board to just have.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yep.
So, and then Dave gave a loose estimate of planting all the trees. of around $6,000, I believe it was. So these are all the things we talked about. The main thing is we believe we have a good idea of where we could go with this year. I think we can get the main part of the Sands Avenue Park filled with the dirt, put a walkway in, and put the trees in, and hopefully have the guys, if they have time, to put in the driveway, at least the Millens at this point. But I think it's a good plan. I mean, Howard and Alan, you want to follow up on any of that, but that was kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, we also touched on drainage.
Yes.
So that would be when Dave Zambito said, made the suggestion or the recommendation for the operator for the bulldozer. He said, his credentials are excellent. He'd be able to grade everything.
Right.
I don't think, and I brought up, I don't think we're going to have to put much pipe in the ground because we actually created one giant French drain or dry well with all that rock going into that craters. And we left the drain at the bottom of that crater open. So once the water gets to the bottom, it's going to go off the riverbank through that existing valve that was left open. And then Scott, I think, did you leave out the walking services we're going to do with the millings?
I just said we're going to do it, but we planned on the Millens. Yeah.
Yeah. And then John said he can rent a paver to put them down. I think we agreed on 6 feet, guys. Was that the agreement? In 6 feet width, so
Did he
people
give a
could pass
cost?
each other.
Cost for the rental, Alan, at that, I didn't hear that part of it.
I didn't hear John say
He didn't get us
any
a
kind
price
of
on that
cost.
yet.
But I imagine that would be 1,500, 2,500 with delivery. I don't know. I don't know what that would be.
Like we did at the town park
Yeah.
driveway, right?
Yeah, the paths would be like that. But they would be, the paths would be as wider, maybe a little bit wider than the ones that go around the pond.
Yeah,
basically.
6 foot wide, but
Yeah,
yeah.
so you could jog on it, have strollers on it, wheelchairs would be able to, pass each other on it, that type stuff. So it would be ADA. The
Yep.
lower part would be, the upper part won't be at this point. So,
So the-
and then we also talked about having it hydro seeded.
Yeah.
Because I know the landing, association said that they would try to seed it.
Yeah,
And I started bringing up questions to them like, and that's a lot of area to spread, and then it's a lot of area to irrigate, and it's way too much. I mean, it was a nice gesture by them,
yeah.
but it's beyond the scope of what we would be able to do as a group, I think.
Well, I appreciate all your hard work, and I know that John Behan and Howard and Jerry and Rosemary actually approached 3 times the CFA to see if we could get money on that project.
Yeah,
And,
this is a
my
start.
thought on it is this, that I'm going to meet actually with John tomorrow to see what he can do and what he can't do. And then in lieu of our bump in our recreation fees, thanks to Mr. Sessman, I think we should move forward if we need more dirt, and then look at the things that, the items that John feels that he really can't get at, and see if we could actually hire somebody to do it. Maybe a short item list for an RFP or something, so this way we know for sure. I know talking to John that he has a lot on his plate, like he mentioned to you all. So I think that would also move the project forward. Hydro seeding, like you recommend, Alan, because when Gail recommended that, I said, okay. I sent that out to Mr. Zambito and everybody, and they said that would be a huge savings. But looking at the area, I don't know exactly how much area is that, an acre, 2 acres? I have no idea.
It's
125
probably,
square feet.
it's probably,
It's a lot.
it could be 3
Big
acres.
area.
It's big. It's 2 point something acres, I would imagine.
Yeah,
big.
so I'm gonna leave the items like bulldozing and stuff like that to the highway superintendent to take care of, because I don't want to get into that. But I think as far as what he feels maybe that he can't do, that we actually accomplish through some kind of short RFP or proposal that we could go out and have somebody. Yeah, and I imagine we should do that pretty soon because a lot of people are very busy today. And
That's
move
true.
forward that way. So with that recommendation, because of the meeting that you just had, I'll just take that, and then maybe with Scott and Mr. Baker, we'll form some kind of list of what we should go out for 3 bids, like for the hydro seeding and stuff like that. As far as if we need more dirt, I think we could do that now.
Yep.
And just make the park it's something that we could be proud of, and probably finish it this year.
And one thing about the dirt, Al, that's a good point that you brought up that reminded me that Gail Jr. asked that we please get the hill done. That let's not just do the bottom part, let's do it. And then the other part of that was talking to Mr. Zambito and to John and to Charlie about the dirt. The dirt we have is great dirt, but it's still sandy loam.
Right.
So depending on what type of grass we want to really have, they do recommend that that dirt be mixed with some kind of additive to the dirt, basically,
Okay.
to get it
Some
to.
compost maybe or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Now, I'm not sure where we want to go with that. I know Howard had some stuff to say about that, but I don't know what your thoughts on that was, Howard, as far as the grass. At least the front now, Dave was able to get a donation to the town, so I think.
Yeah.
the front
200
we'll get
yards.
top
Dave was
soil.
thinking with the 200-yard donation of topsoil, that would be towards the front.
Right in the
As far
front,
as,
right.
yeah, as far as mixing, well, what Dave said was sandy loam is okay, but you're not gonna get really nice lush green grass if that's what you're
Correct.
expecting.
Right.
So we could either say, okay, we don't have lush green grass, or maybe if we do, we're gonna have to supplement the,
Okay,
the
probably
lawn.
gonna have to treat it. I think it's what Dave said. We're gonna have to have it treated. And I mean, that's something that we can either go out to contract for, like with a small RFP, or I don't
Yeah.
know if we can even use like a True Green lawn service, or I would come in and just do, 7 times a year, come in and feed it. You know what I mean?
So I think probably because of our landscape contract, with probably Dave knows best about that.
Yeah,
So let's get dirt in, get the grass seed, hydro seed, get all those particulars, and yeah, get it done. I think it's a great meeting, and so you actually put down the steps that we have to follow, so we don't have to rethink that, and we use Councilman Baker's recommendations and with Scott, and we'll move forward on that. And
Sounds good.
by all means, if we need more dirt, I think we should get the dirt while Mr. Philosella is still trucking, so.
Yep.
So to that point, we'll see where we end up with what we have, and then we'll have to figure out how much more we need. Once we have that idea, we'll come back and decide whether we'll spend the money for that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So question is, should we ask the gentleman that we're looking at to do the bulldozing work? You think he would have a pretty good idea how much dirt we really need? He'd probably have a better guesstimate than we would have just by looking at it, maybe, since he does it all the time. Maybe,
He
I
or
know
Dave.
John said he was gonna have a meeting up there with him, maybe,
Mhm.
Yeah. So
and Dave.
I'm definitely going to talk to John about that.
Yeah,
Because I think the proper way is to go through John's office to
yeah,
get the bulldozer.
sure. Yep.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks a lot, guys. Great work.
I mean, it's fantastic. They were there today, right away, first thing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, our highway department and water department are great.
Yeah.
So they really pitch in, and they do I think, a great job. There we go.
Boy, Eddie.
So is there any more further discussion on that, gentlemen? Are we
No.
good?
We're good.
We're moving forward. That's always the main thing.
Mhm.
So the Milton Train Station Park, I'd like to talk about that just briefly. I sent out an email today, basically through the match, like we have this $98,000 grant that was left on the table, and we revitalized it and started doing the match. It's a 50-50 match. Thanks to the highway department, and from years back, I was able to pull out a lot of stuff with the culvert and stuff like that. They actually did match it. So in that fund for the Milton Train Station Park, we have $73,000. We have $25,000 left of the 98,000. So we would have to spend 50,000 to get to 25,000, which isn't a bad deal. So I sent out an email to everybody that's involved with the train station park. And I eliminated some items that I felt that we could do without right now. So to bring down the budget, because the budget for that park is pretty high. And thanks to the highway department, a lot of the grading was accomplished and a lot of different drainage piping up at Watson. And we established a water line also that was pretty shallow. So we did a lot of work up there. And so I just would like like Alan, Howard, and Rosemary, the usual suspects, and Gail that were involved in that. Take a look at the markup print, see what you think. And I sent out for a meeting on Friday. If we can meet on Friday and just go over that to see if you agree with me on the different things that I eliminated, which brought the price down pretty good. The walk down from the porous pavement from Watson, that's still in there. That's going to be the most expensive item, I feel. And then the other stuff is just pulling away stuff from the stream and making that cascade as the rendering shows, and some tree planting. That's the main thing. So I sent that out to everybody, and by all means, look at it, see if you agree, and hopefully, I think Howard and Rosemary and Jerry already said they can meet Friday, so we'll go over it. So that's another thing in progress that I think is just puts another little touch, nice touch to that Milton Landing. So yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to give you an update on that whole train station, Milton train station park. The other thing is, I've been knocking myself crazy about the ballpark up at there at Fluid Chance Park. As you know, Mr. Corcoran, Thomas Corcoran, got some lights. I believe they're lights that were going to be applied to a parking lot. Is that correct, Tom? So I just need permission from the board to investigate with our engineer, Maguli House and Etzel, on the density of those lights and make sure that the poles are high enough. And if we can use those lights, because those lights are pretty much as you know, I brought one light to show to Pat Hines, and he said, this is for a parking lot. And I said, yes, Mr. Corcoran told me that. And he says, I don't know if we could use this because of the candle light or whatever intensity on the ballpark. So I just need to verify that the height of the poles, and if we can use those lights. If not, actually, I can't find any nomenclature on those lights, except for the baluster tells you that you could use 120 or 220 or 240 or 277, which is a three pole electrical thing, and they don't, Central Hudson doesn't supply that. So that being said, I just need permission to go and talk to Mr. Hines and have one of his engineers look at that, which is good because Mr. Hines, his company, Magui House and Etzel, actually designed the ball field. So they have the perimeters of the ball field, and they can make an estimate of those, see if the height of the poles are good enough in the lights also.
And we have the poles, right? Obviously, right? We've had the poles donated, right?
We have the poles, and when I was looking for people to install the poles, a couple of them said they didn't know if the height, because 35-foot pole, 5 foot in the ground, 30 foot up, they were concerned about shadowing in the outfield. So I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and that we don't, put those poles in and all of a sudden they're not high enough. So I just like permission to go and engineer that out a little bit and make certain that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, as far as the candle or the lumens go, I'm sure those could be upgraded to an LED head.
Well,
or a different
those fixtures can't. So they're the big bulbs, I forget what they call them. They're not energy efficient. They're not LEDs, and you can't transfer those fixtures to be LED either. So
These are the same ones, Tom, we're using at the soccer field right now, right? The same lights that are being put up on the soccer field? The one soccer field?
I believe so. And the lighting company that we originally got those from years ago did do a whole plan with those lights that were sufficient enough. Now, height I can't swear to, but the illumination and everything else was already plotted out by the lighting company years ago. They said how many poles we needed, what place they were supposed to be in, and how many lights were supposed to be on there. We had enough lights. He did say we'd have to replace a couple of the ballasts here or there, but other than that, everything was sufficient to make it work. Again, I can't swear to the height because I don't remember it so long ago, but yeah, maybe McGooey Howes, you could verify the height of the pole and that.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have the specs on those lights that you could send me?
I don't have them. I mean, everything was turned in at the time when I got them. We turned in the specs on the lights. We turned in the diagrams by the light company on where the poles were supposed to be placed. I turned in everything.
You turned them into where?
We're a supervisor's office at some point.
Oh, of course.
Whoever we were
I
working
can't
with at the
find
time.
anything. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we should talk offline. I can't find anything on that. I actually bought a fixture to McGooey Howes and Netzel the other day because I couldn't find and they're pretty heavy and I'm getting old, but they couldn't find anything as far as the manufacturer or anything like that. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to research it a little bit more and get an engineer's opinion on that,
Okay.
just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
good.
may somebody make a motion that I could
I'll
do
make a
that?
motion that you can meet with McGooey Howes and whatever on the light fixtures.
Thank you very much, Ed. I got a second from Mr. Corcoran or Councilman
Baker.
Mr.
Or
Baker.
Mr. Councilman Baker. Thank you, gentlemen.
I just went to Red Hook yesterday for a baseball game at their new town park. They spent $1.3 million on from a grant. And they had a synthetic field that the 11-year-old played baseball on. It was amazing.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
Really nice.
Never been up to, go up to the Sorgerties fields. They're beautiful up there too.
Yeah, Fogarty's has always been.
And
Canton.
there was that place outside of Albany too that always had a lot of the Babe Ruth tournaments. I can't think of the name. Clifton Park. They got a
Clifton
Yeah,
Park.
I'm very confident if we put the lights up there, if we do the right thing, that we'll start getting people up there to play baseball or soccer at night. I think the park is very well attended. Everybody loves that park. So, yeah, I'm very confident that it'll bring a lot of people to town tomorrow. Once they see what we're doing and how serious we are about making that a real, I mean, I looked up there and the drainage seems to be working now pretty well. It seems like somebody's actually going up there and raking some of the sand. So maybe we could, maybe add some sand to help the baseball company in whatever needs they need to get that
I know
going.
you've been talking to them and just continue to talk to the board that's in charge of the baseball.
Yeah.
program now, I mean.
Yeah, I'm
the key
pretty
thing they
excited
tell me
about
is a concession stand. So that's.
I'm pretty excited about it. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Tom, you have something on COVID-19? Enough?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Do you, I know I texted Neil, I just was interested in finding out if 16-year-olds took advantage of that Friday clinic for Pfizer.
No, not really. It was
Okay.
more, he said it was more of a 30 to 40-year-old crowd. So we did a little over 100. So, yeah, the younger crowd didn't take advantage of it. We didn't get many 16-year-olds. We got no 16-year-olds. I could basically tell you that at all.
Well,
Tom, was
on
there,
Friday, Tom?
Yeah.
That was Friday.
Tom,
We
was there a lot
we
of
might-
out of towners or was it just people from Marlborough?
There's a lot of Marlborough people.
Mostly it was Marlborough. I mean, I was working with the school and with Scott on this. Scott got in contact with Mike Brooks and Scott worked with Mike on it. And then they pulled me in on it. And was able to get in touch with Neil, and they got it on the school website. And we thought we'd get a little bit more. Neil was actually hoping that they would drop the age to 12 and over this coming week, which hasn't happened yet. If we're getting close to that, we might try another one with the school district with the 12 and over.
Okay.
But we did start with the 16 and over, hoping to catch the high school students and their parents. So after the county won on Monday, we did 200. 100 and change wasn't too bad for Friday in the same week. So we did
300.
over 300 people, in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Monday was, it was, they had 200 shots, vaccines. I think they had 140, 150, a lot of walk-ins. I think they did a great job, the county, and how they administrated everything. It was in and out, so a lot of.
Yeah, we're doing 4 towns a week. We got another 4 towns going on this week. I think tomorrow's Plattekill. So we've been working with the towns. County's been working with the towns to get their shots. And again, we did 4 last week. We'll do another 4 this week and continue to get town to town. Again, it was difficult in the beginning with the shots not being readily available to us at the county. But as they become more readily available, we are working around all of Ulster County to the towns and getting shots to towns.
Yeah. Talking to Pat this morning, Tom, he's very concerned because we're almost hitting like a brick wall now. We're like 50% vaccinated, the county, and now it's like really trying to get that extra 25% out there. So
That's a nationwide problem.
Yeah.
Well,
And
right now nationwide, the numbers are somewhere in the 30% tile that people just are not going to get it or refuse to get it at this point. Again, once we drop the age, Ulster County, if you take the number of, younger students under 16, there's a number within there that, has not been hit or has not had an opportunity to be vaccinated. But things are starting to loosen up a little bit. But again, I think overall, like Howard said, a national number that's in the 30% tile range that people are just refusing to get it at this point.
I think there's also like there's 15% besides that 30 that are still undecided whether they're going to get it or not. Also,
Yeah.
That's why we're going to be at 55% right now.
yeah,
One piece of good news, though, is I just checked the numbers. The numbers are way down for Marlborough. They're 44, if I'm reading this right, 44 active cases, which is way down from.
Yeah.
It was over 100 last week. Great time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and you might see that spike with the middle school just recently.
Yeah.
I know there was an issue there with the baseball guys, but
It's
The
great.
funny thing is, even on Friday, as people were getting the shot, they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to get it. Like they're there actually signing up for it, and they were still nervous about getting it. So people are scared.
There's crazy stuff on this internet. It's just that what pops up. It's I talk to people and they don't want to get it. They start giving me the reasons, and I'm just like,
yeah.
All right. I don't argue with them. I just say, okay.
There's
Another they got to stop showing that picture of that big needle going into somebody's arm.
I'll tell you the other thing.
It also didn't help that the government shut down the Johnson & Johnson vaccines.
Yeah.
That was a big scare.
Yeah.
The other thing too is I hear a lot of people are not going for the second shot that had the first shot. They're just going with the one shot because they say the one shot is 80%, and you gain by going through the risk of getting some kind of complications. You're only going up to 90 or 95% with the second shot. That's what they're saying.
And the second shot is often sometimes worse in terms of after.
Oh, it is definitely. I was lucky. I had no symptoms, but I know people that did.
So, so thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. So the next thing is the 2021 summer camp. So I like to tell you a little story about that. As you know, back maybe a couple months now, Kim and Bill, they just didn't feel comfortable with having camp because of COVID-19. And like I said, that the CDC had changed the rules quite a few times. And every time they changed the guidelines, I would call them up and ask them, and they still refused. They just didn't feel comfortable. And I think the board and myself recognized that. So with the board's permission, because I told the board that I've had I had Zoom meetings with a lot of moms that really wanted the camp to continue. And I agree with them, and I think the board agreed. That's why we sent out the advertisement for the director, and also for the medical person at the camp. We did not have any response from them, but in the meantime, 3 ladies stepped up that were senior counselors 2 years ago, because last year we didn't have it at all for COVID. And so I met with the 3 ladies, and they agreed that they would like to try, and they're qualified to open up the camp. And so one of them was Melanie Oneto, Oneto. And she would like to, she filled out an application to be the director of the camp. Now, in the meantime, we've been talking to them with Tina Rosa, as you know, is very vital to the camp. She does a lot of the registration for the camp. And she's also been looking at the CDC guidelines, the New York State guidelines we haven't received yet. But basically, these 3 ladies, we've been talking quite a bit, and they decided they would like to do the camp. And I think it's a great thing. So Melanie is actually put the application for the camp director, and there's Gail Transalita and Dawn Macaro, Macario. Now they would all like to do the camp. And Susan Thompson, I called her up a couple of times, twisted her arm a little bit, and she's the health director. So she's coming back. So all of them are very familiar with our camp. Now I could tell you, basically what we discussed is, I want to make sure I got this right, is the camp time. Let me see if I can get this. So we talked about the dates. We're keeping the same dates. The first one's July 6th to the 9th, then July 12th to the 16th, July 19th to the 23rd, July 26th to the 30th, and August 2 to the 2nd to the 6th. They like to change the hours to 8:30 to 2:30, which I agree. It sounds pretty good, but it's a board decision. It used to be 3:30, so it used to be from 8:30 to 3:30. So they like to change it 8:30 to 2:30. And they like to change the age also for the people that are going to go to the camp. They would like to change it from 5-year-olds to 13-year-olds. It used to be 5-year-olds to 14-year-olds. I think that's a reasonable ask. The price would be the same, $125 per week for residents, $150 for non-residents. And the first week will only be $120 due to the short week. It'll be only 4 days. We're going to actually meet, myself, Tina, and the 3 ladies on Thursday to talk about registration and get that all settled. I could tell you that talking to Gail Transalita, she's been in contact with Kim Pomeroy and discussing the forms that would have to be filled out for the registration. So Kim has been very gracious and accommodating these 3 ladies and letting them know the things that they need to do and help them with the form and stuff like that. So we're still waiting, like I said, for the guidelines for New York State. Now, also, so the thing that with each group, before it used to be 15 people in a group, plus a counselor and plus a senior counselor, I guess. So those groups has to be segregated from the other groups. So right now, the CDC, what we're proposing is once the child comes and is dropped off, the temperature is taken and they fill out a form. Have you been in contact? Have you been sick? The usual CDC form about the COVID-19. And then they would go to just their group. And that group can't commingle with other groups, like in the past, where somebody felt, well, I'm going to go up and play basketball or something like that. So those groups have to be segregated among each group, just to make sure that if one does, God forbid, come down with any kind of fever or tested for COVID, that group is then isolated. But like I said, we haven't received the CDC guidelines from the state, and we're hoping to get that. So I think this is really great news. I really appreciate these ladies stepping up, Gail, Dawn, and Susan. So I like the board's opinion. I think this is a great idea. It gets the kids back out. It's a beautiful park. I think we could do it safely. I think we won't really skip a beat, only for the age limitation and the time. So I just wanted to bring the board up on that and get your feelings on that. And if you're fine with that, I'd like to make a motion that we make Melanie Oneto, Oneto, the camp director.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it's a great idea. When I saw the emails, real happy about it. A couple of questions. Are the three leaders of the camp, have they been vaccinated? Do you know?
I think 2 have and 1 hasn't.
Okay, no, that's good. And I think when we were doing like the roundtable email discussions, we know that the busing was going to be a little tricky this year, but we know like the outside events, like the pool and the roller skating,
There's
that's
no
not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
No, what I'm saying, I understand it's not happening. What I'm saying is, have they explored looking in for bringing an outside vendor in, like an outside activity, whether it be a
Talking
traveling
about that,
farm?
they're basically talking about that. They're at the stage now where we've been talking about now registration. And once the board approves my motion to make Melanie the camp director, and then we'll have a camp director and she'll move forward. Working with Tina, Rosa, and myself, and plus, I'll be keeping the board informed of the camp. But I think a lot of moms are going to be happy about this. I think it's a relief for a lot of them. So I think it's a great thing, and I really appreciate these 3 ladies. Dealing with them, it's been a pleasure, and they really are looking forward to doing this. And like I said, they have Kim Pomeroy is also working with them as far as forums and stuff like that. We talked about outside vendors because, like you said, we're going to save some money on transportation. So I'm going to leave that up to them, and they could inform me of or Tina, what they like to see as far as any kind of outside source, of a musician coming in or something to entertain the kids and make it fun. The whole thing is, like, we needed a camp director, so we couldn't do anything without the camp director. And like I said, nobody answered the advertisement. So these 3 ladies stepped up. They're familiar with the camp. They're familiar with the whole process that Kim put together. They've been working with Kim quite often. Throughout the years. So yeah, so we're trying to move forward. So I just wanted to bring the board up to date and get your feelings on that. I think it's a great thing.
Who was the assistant director, or is that Gail?
Yeah, Gail would be, actually, what they like to do is Melanie would be the camp director.
Yep.
And what they like financially, because the 3 of them are going to work together, they would like, I talked to Chris Wilco about this, they would like to combine the camp director, the associate director, and one of the senior councilmen, put that lump sum together and divide it by 3. I didn't think the board would have a problem with that. It's in the budget to do that. So they would like, so this way, each one of them individually has a stake in the camp.
Okay. And who's the health director? The same person we've had?
Yeah, Susan Thompson is the health director. She didn't answer my phone call a couple of times, and then finally she answered. I think she had an indication what I was after. I think she was thinking about it, and then finally the other day I called her up and she said, "Yeah, I'm on board."
Great.
So I mentioned the other three ladies, and I think they're all comfortable with each other. And this is just for 2021. They all understand that, because hopefully by the next year of 2022, camp will proceed with Kim Pomeroy if she so desires, because they've always done a great job.
I think it's a great thing because all three of these ladies know the camp. They know the kids. They know how it runs. They know how to get in and out of our shed with all this facility stuff that we have. They're going to work well with our health director. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, the 1 hour less, I think, is the right move with the COVID. And I think lowering the age to 13 is also a good move with COVID right now. Just being able to offer this is a great thing. So,
I've checked around. I've talked to a lot of supervisors. They're like on a teeter-totter, like also they didn't know what they were going to do. And eventually most of them decided they were going to do something. Regardless if it was to cut down the time, cut down the hours, cut down the amount of people that were going to participate in the camp, but they were going to do something. So I think this is great for the town of Marlborough, because we're actually we're going forward with a full-blown camp. Hopefully, knock on wood, everything turns out well, and we're gonna follow the proper procedure with the CDC. Tom?
Is there a maximum number we're taking for this camp?
No. We're gonna we're gonna find out from the CDC what groups and how many groups, what age group. Right now it's 15. It might be cut short. So we're waiting for the state to give us guidance on the camp. So once we get that, we're going to regulate the amount of people to whatever the CDC recommends.
Okay, because I would obviously like to see residents take more opportunity of this camp than non-residents. If Marlborough is taking the lead on this and having a camp, and then all of a sudden Newburgh, Poughkeepsie, Highland, Wallkill, New Paltz starts filling our camp up, and our local residents don't get an opportunity to do that if we're reducing our numbers.
Yeah, so basically, when we looked at the numbers from 2 years ago when they had a camp and we changed it, talking to Kim and Councilman Clark, and we changed it to $150. There, like one person from Highland, I think, took advantage of that. But I know with COVID, I know with a lot of things like Newburgh's opening up, and their price is a lot higher than ours. So is the surrounding towns. So I understand where you're coming from. So
right. So for $25 more for a non-resident, and all of a sudden we're the big game in town. All of a sudden we start locking out our local residents for $25 a head.
I'll make sure that doesn't happen. I'll make sure.
Well, again, I would just take a look at that as an opportunity.
I mean, I think also the numbers, like right now, like, we discussed this because we work on the camp a lot, is I think that it's going to also get dictated a little bit by the junior counselors that are able to come and work. We also have a budget for this, right? We don't have an unlimited budget to hire another 50 counselors, right?
Right.
So, we have to work within the number of counselors that we have budgeted for. And so that kind of dictates based on CDC when they give us our numbers.
Yeah.
It's still crazy that they still haven't given us our numbers, our ratios, right? We're still using the 1-to-15 ratio, but change.
As soon as we find those numbers, and it all depends on how many people feel comfortable actually coming to the camp, right? And that's the beauty of having a camp director. So they know the system, and they know exactly what's going to happen as far as counselors and stuff like that. The main thing is now they're going to work on Thursday with Tina is to get the registration out. So that's a big step forward.
Are they coming in office on Thursday, Al, or on?
They're going to come at 3:30, I believe 3:30 in the office on Thursday.
I mean, would it be all right if I attend?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
But I do agree with Tom. this could be something that this year might be an odd year that we do get a lot of outside residents. So we'll
We'll
see.
work on our camp and we'll
Yeah.
talk to the ladies about that, see if there's some way that we'll have registration for residents only in the
All right.
beginning.
In the beginning, right?
So, yeah, and basically, like I said, it depends on the amount of people that the guidance from the state with the CDC recommends for camp. And we'll move forward. Well, I made the motion to make Melanie the camp director and,
I'll second it.
We're all
Um,
second.
all right,
Yeah, we're all
all in
second.
favor?
We're all.
Aye.
So this is great. So we're moving forward with the camp. And I'd like to thank everybody that was involved. And it's a load off of my chest, especially all those moms calling me up on the weekends. Anyhow,
That's great.
moving forward.
Great job. I don't know who responsible was. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, Al, good job reaching out to the ex-counselors and getting them on board and the health director. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
nicely done.
So I don't have any correspondence, so I could safely say that we'll move to the public comments. Any public comments? Okay, good dialogue.
I didn't
How we
send
doing,
James.
Brendan? You taking all this down, Brendan?
I am actually.
Okay.
I was gonna say thank you guys for letting me tag along. It's really helped because I'm the first person in my class to actually check this box off. Everyone else is waiting, 2 weeks or so, and you guys are very generous for letting me tag along. Just wanted to thank each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Totally well.
I was just checking to see if you're paying attention. It looks like you were.
Of course.
Okay.
Get an A.
So, no correspondence, no public opinion, nothing, we're good? Well, let's move to the resolutions. And the first resolution is to accept highway item bid. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas a legal notice appeared in the official newspaper of the town of Marlborough requesting bids on materials for the town of Marlborough Highway Department. And whereas April 15, 2021, all bids were open and read aloud, and whereas the superintendent of the highway has recommended the following items. Item 1, material hauling, JKN Trucking. There was no other bids. Item 2, asphalt and material hauling, JKN Trucking won that. There was no other bids. Item 3, wash stones and hauling, JKN Trucking. Item 4, material and delivery, JKN Trucking, 20.25 per ton. Deach was 20.50. That award went to JKN Trucking. 3/4 stone material and delivery, JKN Trucking, $26 a ton. Deach at $28 a ton. So JKN Trucking won that at $26 a ton and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta,
Yes, thank you, board. Resolution 50 to accept fuel bills, bids. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas legal notice appeared in the official newspaper for the town of Marlborough requesting bids for the town fuel needs. And whereas April 15, 2021, all bids were open and read out loud. Now therefore be resolved that the following bids are awarded. Item 1, heating oil, Russo Fuel at 0.1750 a gallon over Journal of Commerce, Albany reseller. Tank car, Marlborough was at 0.2626 a gallon over. And so Russo Fuel won that bid. Item 2, propane for generator, Russo Fuel was 0.40 a gallon over Selkirk. All park propane will be donated. So Russo Fuel won both of those, local business, so that's a good deal and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta,
Yes. Thank you very much.
Supervisor Lanzetta, I have a quick question.
Yes,
The propane tanks that run the 21 Milton Turnpike generator are still Porcos. So with the award of this bid, does that mean I should contact Russo and have them switched?
yes.
Yes.
Is this bid effective immediately?
Yes, for this
Yeah,
resolution.
I'm thinking 1650's generator is the same. So I'll make those arrangements shortly. Okay, thank you.
Thank
In
you.
1650, Jerry, we didn't switch 1650 over to the natural gas, to the building gas? I thought we
No.
switched that.
Oh,
The
I'll
generator,
verify.
I think we
I'll
might have.
verify. Okay, I'll verify that with Gary.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
thank
I think we might have switched that, right?
you. We might have.
I'll verify that, make those arrangements, and take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you, chief. Appreciate it.
See,
Now,
there he
Brendan.
goes. There he goes, doing his extra duties.
Yeah. Earning that big bucks. So Brendan, this is the really important part of the meeting, and I'm gonna turn it over to Councilman Koenig. And you gotta listen to it real careful.
Yeah, well, sometimes I get creative, sometimes more than others, but I'm gonna go back to one of my words, and I think something's important that we should discuss, and I'm hoping somebody will support it, but I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Eddie.
All in favor?
Aye.
So move. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Brandon. See everyone later.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Thank you, Danielle.
Have a good one,
Good
guys.
meeting, guys.